Hello, hello. This is Haley again, reporting for duty from her webcam because I can't find my camera anywhere. Whoa. Yeah. So today was a fun day for me. I went to the hospital because I remember how I said I was sick. Apparently I was very, very dehydrated, and I went to the doctor, and the doctor sent me to the ER where I got 2 liters of IV in the arm. Can't see it, but both my arms got pricked. I had to wear a mask. It was great, you know. I was like, oh, do I have Ebola? I do not. And they checked all my blood work, and so it was pretty much the waiting game. And I got to like lay down, and I got a room with my own little bathroom, and I felt so special. But I also felt bad because there were so many other people in that hospital that probably could have used it more than I could. But yeah, today was a fun day. But I talked to my mom today, and she said, you know, you really need to like explain more about what happened, and you know, and so I wanted to do something. I wanted to kind of share more like actual stories of what happened in Cambodia instead of just like my overall experience, because I realized I can talk for like an hour or more than that over my overall experience because there was so much that happened. But let me just share probably my favorite highlight of this entire trip. Um, the biggest thing that happened, if you were following me like on Facebook and you saw like all the photos that I took, you would see photos of these 5 kids that I got to experience. So what happened was that morning before I met them, um, the whole class got together, and it was, I think we were already there a couple days, and we were all kind of getting a little itchy to like actually go and do things, because up until that point we were mainly just seeing the orphanages, and we went and visited a refugee camp on Tonle Sap River, and we felt useless. Like we felt like, what are we doing here? At least that's how I felt. You know, it's like, oh, this is like the worst missions trip ever because our missioning is like stinking. Like I said, I felt like a glorified tourist. And but I talked with the leaders, and Anna, she told me, you know, like just wait, like we're gonna be doing something tomorrow. And also like I had some conversations with the Lord about it, and he was saying like, this is, you really need to get something that, you know, this Western mindset of you coming in and fixing it. It's not right. You have something that you need to learn from these people, because these people have something that is beautiful to offer. So it was a very, very different mission trip. I already explained that in the first video, but so anyways, so that was kind of prefacing it. We were all kind of feeling this tension. Um, and so at the beginning of the morning at breakfast, the leaders, we all sat down and we all just talked it out. And we talked about our feelings, and we decided that we were going to go and bless the land. And for people, so what we did was, you know, like we looked at Cambodia's history, and we kind of talked it out with Paul, and I think we did at least, um, where we wanted to actually go out and start speaking blessing over the land, because they haven't done that. And you know, in our culture, it's like um, we're learning more about that. So it's kind of this big thing. But in general, we wanted to go and just because we knew that we can't really be praying for the people. We can't. Well, we could be, but we can't go out and start giving them words because there's a language barrier. So we're kind of limited in what we can do. But we decided that we wanted to go to this river that our hotels really are nearby. I think it's the Damnak River or Siem Reap River. I don't know, but we're by a river, and this river is like gross. It's like it's stagnant, and it doesn't move, and you don't see a whole lot of life in it. There's garbage floating in it. You know, it's not a very fun river to look at compared to like the rivers, you know, you see flowing with life. It's very, very stagnant and just murky, and you can't see the bottom. So what we did was, our group of about 20 people, we all went, and there were bridges kind of going across it, and this is like in the middle of Siem Reap, so it's kind of like in the middle of the, there's a bustling town going on around us. So we all spread out, and we kind of surrounded this little patch of river, and we started speaking life over it, like just what I was doing. I was actually singing a song over the over the river, and I'm sorry if it sounds weird, but we wanted to bless the land. We wanted to we wanted to speak good things into this river and good things into the land, because I believe that my words have power, and there's so many things on that when you speak and when you say good things show up in the physical. um, it's really cool. So yeah, we were blessing this river, and I was singing this song called "Come to the River" by the House Fires. And my friend Kaylani, she was singing it. She kind of got that song stuck in my head, but I just had the song that goes, "Come to the river, come to the river, taste and see." And so I was singing that, and I was just singing it over this river, and um, it was actually really weird. We were probably there. I was probably standing there for about, I want to say maybe 10, 15, 20 minutes or so. I was just singing it over this river, and I was watching this river, and I was almost expecting like the water to completely demercify, like it's a word, but to like clear up. But I started seeing movement. Like the water was completely stagnant when we were there. There was no movement. It was gross. The garbage was still floating there. But as I was singing, and as everyone, all of us, we were all surrounding this river, covering, over the bridges. We were just kind of surrounded and just looking at this river, and people are passing by, minding their own business. We're just white tourists being weird, the norm. But we're all speaking life over and praying over this river, and just speaking blessing and life, that let this river flow with life. I pray hope, I pray peace. I bring life back into this river, back into this land. And as I don't know, this is just from my perspective, I heard from others that people actually saw like things coming out of the river, like frogs and bugs. And but what I saw was like the river actually started moving, like the flow of the river, it started like flowing like faster and faster and faster, and started clearing up. Like a lot of the garbage was going out, and it was so cool. And as I was singing, um, it was weird. I almost felt like it was an I felt like it was an actual invitation for people to actually come to the river. And I kind of felt that like I was going to be seeing someone that day, that I was going to encounter, or have a moment, I don't know, with someone. And as I'm thinking this, like I'm going to meet someone today, like from this river. I'm going to meet someone at this river. um People kept on started showing up and started like interacting with us, and then these 5 kids sat to my right, and they were all like these 5 just random kids off the street. And they started playing on this little rope bridge swing thing. I'm just like the rope gate. Oh no, they were just playing on it, and I was singing. And so these kids, any kids there, they whenever they see like, especially a white female blonde, they want to say hi and they want to wave. So they saw me, and I was singing. And so this one little girl, she came up to me, and she just like stared at me. She was, and it was because I was singing, and so what she like, they just kind of kept looking at me, and I looked at them and I smiled, and I just kind of felt like, okay. But then this little girl, she like grabbed my hand, and then I realized like, oh, okay, so I'm gonna go hang out with these kids. So I started to take like, they grabbed my hand and pulled me over to them, and I sat down, and I just started playing with these 5 kids. There were 3 girls, 2 little ones, and 2 boys. There was one boy that was kind of hidden in the trees, and he kind of wasn't playing a whole lot with us. He was kind of being all skulky off. I don't know why. We couldn't understand a word of what any of us was saying. I just started playing with them, and they were just having a ball. Like I their smiles are so big, and I pulled out my phone and I started taking pictures, and of course they see my phone and they're like, oh my gosh. And so I handed my phone to one of the girls and she started taking selfies and started taking pictures of everything and started taking pictures of me, and I was confused because I'm like, I don't know what you're doing. And I'm just talking to them, and it's like we're both talking complete gibberish to each other, so it's really funny. And I play with my sunglasses. They give them my sunglasses and I give them my hat, and they're just wearing them, and we're playing around and messing around, and I finally like invite this other kid over, and we're like all these kids, like we're just having a ball. Like I don't know, I love them, and we can't understand a word that each other's saying. We're like pointing to things, and I'm like, yeah, yeah, yeah. And I had this idea, like, man, it'd be really cool to buy these kids ice cream because there's some really good ice cream places in Siem Reap, and there's this place called Blue Pumpkin, which is amazing. But anyways, so ice cream is like, ooh, nice. So I just thought, like, oh, I want to. So I wanted to try to tell these kids, hey, I want to buy you ice cream, without it being, because in American connotation, it's kind of creepy. A random stranger just wants to go and buy you ice cream. But I figured it's Cambodia, it might be different. And plus, I'm a girl, and I don't know. I don't know. It's I want to buy them. I don't know. So anyway, so I tried to tell them. I was like, hey, you want to eat cold ice cream? Ice cream? Like, and they just kind of stared at me for a bit because they knew that I was trying to tell them something. And I was like, ice cream? I kept them like, I was like, brr. And, and they all got kind of quiet. And, uh, one of them just started, the kind of the second youngest girl, she just went, yeah. I think I don't know if they completely understood what I was trying to say, but I was like, okay. So here we go. So I had like 5 little kids following me in a row, and we're all just walking through the streets of Siem Reap, and we're going to this ice cream shop, and I'm like thinking, okay, so these kids are probably being really weirded out right now. They're probably like, oh gosh, where is this woman taking us? Um, but they were holding my hands. We were just walking there, and we finally got to the ice cream shop, and I walked inside, and they let go of my hands, and they stood outside and looked, and I walked inside, and I was like, there's no children, and so I turned around, and they're all standing outside, um, and I was like, it's okay, you can come in. And I later actually learned that, like, these kids, they cannot afford ice cream. They probably never have had ice cream in their entire lives, let alone have been inside an ice cream shop. This is a very tourist area, so like even though my ice cream is like like $1.50 or whatever, it's super cheap. To me, it's like, to them it is so expensive they can't even think about it, and their families probably can't afford it, and they can't afford it. And so these kids have probably never have had ice cream in their entire lives, and they've that I don't know, just like when I walked into that store and they stood outside and like they didn't come in, and that like wrecked me, like. And I told them, like, no, it's okay, come into the store. And so they slowly, one by one, started walking in, and I just looked at them, and like the people behind the counter were confused because they're not used to selling to kids that can't afford ice cream. But I told them, no, 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 I'm buying for all of them. And so I was, so I finally told them, like, chocolate, strawberry, like pick out a flavor, like pick one out. And their eyes just got huge, and they started like asking, like talking to the people. And so I bought ice cream, and it was so good, and we all got it, and they were just super quiet as we walked back to the river, and they were just smiling so huge, and we're just eating our ice cream, and we're just having so much fun, and they're just like in complete shock. And so we get back to the river, and I see like my leader, Rudy, and Randy. He's our guide, and he that's when he told me, like, Haley, these kids, they've never had ice cream before in their life, and I got to take a couple more photos with them. And by the time, like, that one kid that was kind of standing off in the corner being all weird, he was actually like having fun with us, and we were joking, and these oh, they were just playing on me and just grabbing, just, peace signing everywhere, and I said my goodbyes to them, and they just ran away like these little angels. Yeah. So that was probably the most, and Randy told me, he said, Haley, you don't realize like what you just did for these kids, and I still don't. It felt so natural. It, I don't know, like I think about those kids all the time. I think about their smiles. I think about how I want to see them again, how I didn't know them, they didn't know me, and they had just the biggest smiles on their face, and the fact that I was blessed to be able to buy them a scoop of ice cream, and how that might have affected their lives. I don't know, but I loved every minute of it. Um, and people kind of kept joking and calling me Mama Hal, and I like that. I like that. I like giving hope. Like, these kids were just so hopeful to me. Like, that was, they were something I needed. I've never seen such happy, such beautiful children in my life. And the fact that like these kids, like, they can't have ice cream, they can't, all the little things, all the little blessings that we can have, that's out of their league, it's out of their reach completely. And people, they're not kind, ugh. So yeah, that was one thing, that was probably one of my favorite things that happened, was meeting those 5 kids. I don't remember all their names because they are very different different names, but I remember all their faces, I remember all their smiles, and um, I think about them all the time, and I know that I blessed that land, and I got to bless those kids, and those kids completely blessed me. Um, Again, super long video, but that's probably like a more actual thing that happened, or a testimony of that happened while I was in Cambodia. Um, yeah, I loved every bit of it, every single bit. I can't put into words completely how filled I am from this trip, and how filled I am from every single person that I encountered. I've never felt so much love for people that I didn't know. I've never like felt so much just longing to just love them completely, and just eat them, and oh, I miss it. I miss them. But yeah, um, so again, thank you guys. This is just another little Cambodia video, and good job if you watched the whole thing. Woohoo! Alright, well, I'll probably see you guys later and tell you more Cambodia stuff. Hopefully I'll find my camera, so that way it'll be better quality, so you don't have to like do this just to hear my voice the entire time. 19 minutes. Good job, Haley. Alright, I'm gonna go to bed now. Bye.